O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. The time has come for us to see that there's but one reality upon the earth and high above, the truth that all was made from love. A love that calls to us to fly above the hills, above the sky, above the storms, above the pain, a land where peace and laughter reign. O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Guide all our hopes and all our dreams, as every glow that only seems into the light, the inner sun, into the truth that we're all one. Help us to find in every hour, in every thought, in every flower, a joy that spans eternity, the truth that makes us ever free.
Join us.
O Master, may thy joy fill our days. O Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways.
It's so wonderful to hear Swamiji speaking of his guru, of our Guru Yoganandaji, and understanding not only from Swamiji's words and his own understanding and his experience of being with Master, but also from his own realization. You see, we need examples of that in our lives to understand just what divine union looks like. And his very manner is more eloquent of a sermon, perhaps, than any teaching. And his example, Yoganandaji's examples, these masters, also Swami Kriyanandaji's example, ever held before us, reminds us that it can be done, and that's what we are. And in fact, this is why the masters come. And with that understanding, I'd like to read this poem from Yoganandaji's book, Whispers from Eternity. This one is called, Make Me a Lion of Thy All-Conquering Wisdom. I, a lion cub of the Divine Mother, found myself thrown into life among the sheep of human frailties, of fear, of failure, and disease. Living long among them, I learned to bleat with weakness, forgetting my lion nature and its roars, which could frighten away all petty, pestering sorrows. O Lion of Realization, thou didst drag me away from those bleating sheep to the mirror-smooth waters of meditation. There didst thou cry, Gaze! But I held my eyes tightly shut, bleating with fear. Thy roar of wisdom then reverberated through my body. Thou madest me, by hard shaking and spiritual urging, open my eyes. And there, lo, in the crystal pool of my inner peace, I saw my features to be even as thine own. Now I know myself as the lion of cosmic power. I will bleat no more with fear, weakness, and suffering, for I roar now with vibrant, almighty power. I bound about through the forest of all experiences, seizing little creatures of vexing worries, timid fears, and wild hyenas of disbelief, devouring them ruthlessly. O Lion of immortality, roar through me thine all-conquering power of wisdom. So, as much as we look to the masters, as much as we honor them, as much as we celebrate their lives, and in this case, their Yoganandaji's Mahasamadhi, really they have come to maybe not celebrate us, but to elevate us. This is why they come. They don't see us as we see ourselves. It's easy to see a liberated master, an avatar, as these line of gurus were, so Yoganandaji told us, each one an avatar. And to just behold their greatness and say, my gosh, in comparison to them, I am nothing. But of course, that's not their purpose at all. They see us as these lion cubs running around thinking that they are sheep, thinking that we are sheep. And they're saying, look in the mirror and see that you look just like I do, that you are this great soul, as just slightly deluded, slightly thinking that you are lesser. And they, in fact, don't have a separate identity of their own. When people would look to Yoganandaji and say, you are the guru, or people would directly say, these are your disciples and you are the guru, he would never accept that. He said, God is the guru. If anyone would touch his feet, he would go like this to indicate that he was directing their devotion up to God, the only source. And it's amazing to see also in the life of Swami Kriyananda how he always directed people's devotion to him to Master, and to Yoganandaji is what I mean when I say Master. Because whenever anyone would say, well, look how wonderful you are, or how much you've helped me, or all that you've accomplished. He's created all these communities where 1,000 people live on this earth, and written 150 books and over 400 pieces of music. Just on a worldly level of accomplishment, it has been vast. And people would praise him, and he would say, it's all come from Master. It's all Master doing it through me. And he would look to Master constantly, and I had a hard time understanding that, how you could really sincerely do that. I mean, I believed him to be sincere, but I thought, but you really have he has done all these things. They really are wonderful. And how can he just say it's nothing compared to my guru? I couldn't really understand that until I got to know him better. And then I realized, well, that's how I think of myself in comparison to him. All that he has been able to do, and how it's just so vast and so wonderful. But also his divine presence, the waves of bliss that he said radiated from Master, also radiated from him, of Yoganandaji through him. And so I too knew what that felt like to be in that presence, not just physically, but also trying to tune into meditation, which we still can do all the time, tuning into any of the masters in meditation, to be in their presence. And to know how great that power was, that manifestation of God's power was, compared to what I felt in myself. But then I don't want this thought to go too far, because someone else was saying to me that I can never live up to Swamiji's example. I could never possibly do what he has, anything that he's accomplished, and I'm just not worthy, and I'm not able, and I can't have that expectation put on me, and I, in a way, feel a little bit helpless in this, basically, is what I think he was saying. And I said, well, think about how Swamiji felt compared to Master. Master was an avatar. I mean, that's pretty much as high up the chain as you can go. There maybe are further gradations of oneness with God, but that's not our problem to worry about. Let's just merge with God first, then we can receive the postgraduate work. We have the clear board exam in front of us to clear first. That's our duty, is to get free of this ego. But I said, look at how Swamiji would look to Master and feel, much lesser in comparison. And the man said, exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying. And then I added, and look how much Swamiji was able to accomplish anyway, in Master's name. Again, all these communities, everything. And he felt completely in honor of the Guru, honoring the Guru because of his own experience of him also. And yet still using the Guru's power, asking the Master to work through him, look at all that was able to be done. Not all of us have the karma, not all of us have the need to do vast outward accomplishments. That may not be what we need to do for our own freedom. There was one of Yoganandaji's disciples, Swami Kriyananda, who I've told you just about, with this large world work. There was another one who was just working in the garden. That's all she ever did. She took care of the flowers. And she was, I forget exactly where she was from. It's not Scotland or Norway, Sweden, thank you. She was from Sweden. And she said, yeah, the flowers are my children. And that was basically her work in Yoganandaji's organization, was to take care of the garden. And she was not the only one. And Yoganandaji said she'll be free in this lifetime. I mean, that would be nice, wouldn't it be? Just like, you go down to earth, work on the garden, you'll get free. Sometimes we yearn for that. Could I have that assignment, please? But, we don't know about all the assignments she had before that. Maybe she was a general marching armies across the battlefield, and they said, okay, in the next life, the garden. You can, and then you're done. So, we don't know what we've done, we don't know what lies before us, but we know that if we tune into their power, we can get free. The Masters come to free us. That's why they also give the techniques. In this case, this line of gurus, having given the technique of Kriya Yoga, saying, use this. It's like lowering a rope from heaven and saying, here's the rope. Just climb straight up. We're running around looking for stairs, airplanes, elevators. We're trying to construct for ourselves a hang glider that maybe I can use to get up to heaven. Meanwhile, they just said, grab the rope. It's right there. And just you don't even have to climb it. Just grab the rope, tie it around your chest, around your heart, and they just lift us right up. That's all we're trying to do, is get into the harness like a little baby and then just be lifted up. That's what these techniques are. They're, as Master said, they're the keys to heaven. He also quoted Jesus saying they're the keys to the kingdom. We think the kingdom is locked. We think the kingdom of God is locked to us. But it's not at all. And God is more eager for us to come home even than we are to go home. So remember that's all that they've come for. This is their only purpose. And so they are here to show us what we are, and they are here to make us what they are. Because it's all God saying, come on home. So see in their example a reflection of what you can become. Of course, not we as egos. The ego is the thing we have to let go of. It's that thing that's separating us. It's that thing that's saying, the rope is right there, but you might want to try another approach. Maybe, and it tries to keep us distracted. It tries to keep us, what happens if the rope breaks halfway up? You'll die. It keeps us small. It's that sheep that's trying to say, stay small, stay safe, which is to say, stay under my control. And we're tired of that. At a certain point, our yearning develops in our heart to come home. And remember that when you have a sadness or whatever, as Dharmini was leading us in the affirmation for forgiveness, offer it to God. And remember, when we offer these hurts to God, we take them in our hands and offer them like this, as opposed to like this. Hanging on, here you go, God, but it's mine. I offer it all to you. But we don't, we hang on to it. Please take this pain away. And, Divine Mother tries to pry forward one finger. Ouch, 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 ouch. Just let it go. Give it all. She's here to take it all from us and have us be completely free.
Happy Mahasamadhi almost to everybody. Very often people say, I wish I were with Yoganandaji. And I think it's very understandable that we all wish to be in the physical presence of the Guru. It's a natural human desire. But wishing for too long for that which cannot be is very contractive. And I know some people who have pined away often. I wish I could have been with him, and then I wish I could have been with him. And if you think about the direction of energy when we are pining in that way, it's down. And what we need to do instead is turn things up and have that energy flow up into a spiritual warrior who wants to have God flow through, who wants to express the presence of the Guru, and who also wants to feel the Guru's presence fully, 1,000% inside, and manifest that willpower. That's what we are now. And I think it takes very little effort, actually, to feel the presence of Yoganandaji. You know, it takes an intention. And if you want to have any proof, think about how empty this building was less than maybe 6 months ago, and how now the vibrations in here almost meditate for you when you come into this building. And that is the presence of the Guru. So we are in the presence of the Guru. I don't want to deny the human desire for that, but let's not pine away about it. And instead, feel the joy that Yoganandaji wants us to have. And this power that Yoganandaji has given us through our meditation, through Kriya Yoga, is so palpable and so strong. Everything Swamiji has spoken about, we all can have now. And it sounds theoretical, but, you know, there are many saints in the making right here. You know, people who are already experiencing deep ways of meditation, deep vibrations of meditation, already, with not even having meditated that long, really. And so the Kriya Yoga is like a miracle. It really is. It works on us. Lately I've been saying it does spiritual surgery on us. That as we practice it, it is changing our life on every level, and we don't perceive that change, but it's there. And it is such a deep blessing, and Yoganandaji has given this to us. All of our gurus have given this to us in such a beautiful way. And it's a miracle that we have this temple now. It's a miracle that people just come here and attend satsang or come to classes. You know, we added 50 new people just from level 1 recently. And it's not that we count numbers, because just like Mount Washington that Yoganandaji had, the doors on a temple for Yogananda are revolving. Many people come in and many people flow out. And one of the reasons is this path is not easy. So even though I say it's very simple to feel the presence of Yoganandaji, it's not simple necessarily. Well, it is simple, but it's not necessarily easy to practice these teachings. But most of the souls who enter through these doors are ready to practice the teachings. And sometimes we come in, we don't realize what we have, we go. Many people go and then they come back a year or two later. And so we can't be attached to, did you come in, did you stay? You know, I remember there was this one person in Palo Alto who was just obsessed with the fact that not enough people were staying after taking level 1. And she was put in charge of marketing. And so I can't remember if she actually did it, maybe just for a short amount of time before it was nixed. But wanting to stand outside the door as people left and give like a little exit interview, like, now, are you going to come back? Or if you're not going to come back, why not? Thinking that it's just, people maybe weren't friendly enough to the person. That's why they don't want to come back. Or not enough explanation was made, and that's why they, just really trying to be very logical about it. But it's all really vibrational. You can see some people come here and go, oh my God, what is this vibration? I'm out of here, because it's a powerful vibration here, and it's a serious vibration here. And this vibration says, do you want God? And then some people are like, I don't know if I want God that much. Someone recently, who is not here right now, in level 3 said, do I have to change? And at the moment, I don't think I said the right thing necessarily to make him feel better. But I thought about it later. And what I should have said, and I might say this in the next class, is, well, since you've been practicing Hong Sa, have you changed? And the answer is definitely yes, because here he is in level 3. So do you like those changes? Well, yes. So maybe the change will go in a good but not scary direction, But I had the same feeling when I came to Ananda. I was young, and I was worldly, and yet I had for a number of years been meditating on my own and knew that I wanted a guru. It hit me one day that I needed a guru. And so I was searching for one, but still pretty worldly in my ways, as a young American female and being independent and a little different than some of the Indian females, unless you live in Mumbai or Delhi. So I came to Ananda because a friend had been coming. And I just remember crying and didn't know why I was crying, really. And then a friend, someone who became a friend later, who's probably, 25 years older than I am. And she's still in her body and everything, and a very strong yogi. And she was just very friendly and hi, and, well, I hope we see more of you. And I just felt this pull. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm pretty young, I just don't know if I'm ready for being at a place like this yet. And I don't even know why I said that. And I think I talked about it with her later, I don't know what I was saying. So I didn't come back for a couple months. I felt a pull that I could not understand, and I think I probably sensed my life was going to be over as I had known it. And it was, actually. And so then I did come back, and I started coming back regularly. And it was funny because I must not have read the flyers, or they didn't have flyers. I like to try and make sure we have flyers that kind of explain who we are. I didn't even quite get, I take meditation classes here. I was just coming to satsang and getting a lot from it, and finally kind of went, I should be taking the classes. I don't know what was wrong with me. So I was enjoying kirtan because we had kirtans, and I was enjoying it. But I did have a commute. It took me about 30 to 45 minutes to get to Ananda from where I live. So then there was, after a number of months of that being in kind of a, what's this place? Then finally I said, I'm coming every week. And so a friend of mine who lived there, I would come on a Friday or a Saturday and spend a night or two, and then I would just sleep on her floor, and then go to satsang finally on Sunday, and then drive home. And I just started doing this for August, September, October, November, December, about 5 months, and then I moved in because we had a spiritual community there. It was like a big apartment building that only devotees lived in. And so everybody had their own place, but there was also a common temple. They had converted one of the apartments into a temple so that people would go for meditation together, but they all lived in the same apartment building, which I think could happen someday in Chennai. And so anyway, I finally moved in, and I at that point had realized how important this path was to me. I remember telling my friend who was the manager at the apartment, Ananda manager at the apartment buildings. I said, I want to move in so badly I'll even live in a closet. And I moved. I was an engineer, made a lot of money, and I went from this very large apartment, very large, with 2 cats, and moved into this small studio that, I don't know, it was smaller than this room. The studio was definitely smaller than this room. Maybe the main room was maybe the size of this inner square, and then it had some closets and a bathroom that was outside. So it was kind of there was a building that had 4 very small studio apartments. So I went with that, and my 2 little cats were like, this is really small. They started fighting because it was too small and no one had their territory. I ended up giving one away. So anyway, I was happy in my little small closet of an apartment. I didn't care. And at that point, moving into community was very powerful because everybody there was practicing Kriya together. And actually, I found it a bit intense at first, very intense, and could kind of not handle the energy. And so anyway, but then you get used to it, and the more you practice, the more you integrate the energy that you're having. But karma gets accelerated when we are in spiritual community. Things can get intense. We can have karma hit us more than we would expect. And very often we think, well, maybe my karma will just get better, and less difficult things will happen. And hey, wait a minute, Guru. I thought now that I'm a disciple, nothing bad happens anymore. Wait a minute. Isn't that the agreement? And so at this Mahasamadhi time, it's a great time to recommit our dedication to surrendering to the will of the Guru, but with willpower. Very often there's an attitude of surrender that's kind of, if I surrender to you, you'll take care of me and make sure nothing bad happens. It's like we don't quite know what surrender means, but we think if we say it that way, then we'll be taken care of and nothing bad will happen anymore. That's you give me your blessings, and that means nothing bad will happen. And so we have to get that out of our mind. Just as, where's the forgiveness? This quote is just so perfect. All that befalls me is for my good. Now, can we say that and believe it? I welcome any hurts that I receive as opportunities to grow in understanding. That is surrender. That is what surrender means. Accepting everything, good and bad, as the will of the Guru. And not taking it as punishment. It's very important to not take it that way. People have such a misconception of karma as punishment. It came from us only. We talked about this in our big magnetism talk the other week. But we have to just remember that a long time ago, we put the energy out that was adharmic, that wasn't quite working. We were off center. And we said to God, I'm willing to take the hit back. Now, I'm strong enough for the hit. I'm willing to take the hit. I want to burn off the karma, so I'm taking the hit. And it will push me that much closer to freedom by taking this hit. But I did it. And it might have been a long, long time ago. A long time ago. Sometimes we'll feel guilty. Well, that person persecuted me because I probably persecuted them, and I was so mean and bad, and but in actuality, that was a long time ago. We have to acknowledge that on some level, and not without ego, we're all great souls. If we are here now, Master said we have very, 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 very good karma. We have to acknowledge that and say, the past sins, they did happen a long ago. Basically, most people have great, good hearts and really want to improve themselves and really want to do better. So we have to stop the self-criticism. It really blocks our way forward when we are critical of ourselves. And so we need to break down that wall of self-criticism and allow the power of our souls to come through, to stop feeling as though there is a ceiling on our head that doesn't allow us to move any higher. Just get rid of that ceiling and open up to the possibility that we can really shine and really express the power of the Guru in a very good way. Again, it takes very little effort to watch a video of Swami every day, read a book from a book of Master Swami every day, meditate a couple times every day, keep God on your mind all the time. It really doesn't take a lot of effort when your heart is filled with devotion and love. And we really need to work on our hearts, but that's what the Guru is doing for us. Yoganandaji is always working on our hearts. He's always trying to say, can you keep your heart open? Can you love in this situation? Even if the hurt comes to me, can I overcome that hurt to expand again and know that really the one purpose is to find God? Swamiji said something very important on that video. He said, if we could all learn to direct our energy in the right way, then we would have a lot of advancement. And what he meant by that is to not just have our energy flow through the senses all the time, outward directed to the world, but instead draw that energy from the senses to the spine and draw it up to the spiritual eye, filling the brain with light in our meditations, filling our bodies with healing energy, allowing ourselves to tune into bliss. All it takes is one experience of deep meditation to help us continue to go. Pray for that experience that gives you a sense of deep peace, deep unchanging peace, not a wowie-zowie like feeling. I saw the spiritual eye and I went through it and I saw the angels on the other side. That's a wowie-zowie thing. Master said, the spiritual path is not a circus. And so when we have a true spiritual experience, we feel the deepest calmness. We feel like we are the Shiva Lingam, where we are formless, steady, unmoving, just right there with God. And that is a feeling we can all feel deeply in our hearts. And Master wants to give it to us more than anything. And Divine Mother is right there for us. And Swamiji is right there for us. And Sri Yukteswar, with his Mahasamadhi on Thursday, we can also give him our love. Every opportunity is to give the Guru our love. And to feel that deep, deep, divine peace. Tune into that. We have to change our life. We do have to change. We have to say, I want peace. That means maybe less radio, maybe less Rajasic Bollywood music or Kollywood music. Maybe a less dun, 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 which is how life is usually. You step outside these doors, it's a beep, beep, you know. You might have read T. Nugger wants to have like a pedestrian mall, and all the shopkeepers are mad about it. But it would be really nice if we could walk the neighborhood safely. Wouldn't that be nice? I don't know if you can do it in the city where everything's already established, but it is very nice to do that. But you can't even really take a peaceful walk. Even the parks are full of people. People knocking into you. When we lived in the other place, we would go to Rajesh Rao Park. And, it was like taking your life into your own hands just to go to the park. Then at one point I thought, I just can't do it anymore. Okay, maybe we'll take an Ola to the park, walk around, and then take an Ola back. But anyway, instead we took up swimming, and we just decided to swim instead. So even stepping outside our homes can be just very Rajasic. So we have to take this temple of peace that we cultivate and develop with us everywhere we go. And be the spiritual warrior that sends that peace to everyone we're with. Stop the reactions to crazy people. Just stop it. Stop the engagement with crazy people. Just stop it. Be the peace yourself. Let others be who they are. You be the peace. And you'll just find that the reality around you changes. It does change. Now, it doesn't mean that now no one is mean and no one tries to do things to you. But when you have that detachment of, I want to have this peace and this calmness, then the world does change around you. And Master will still give you the karma that you need to grow, which is always pushing, no matter where you are in the spiritual path, no matter how many years you've been on the spiritual path. It doesn't get easier in terms of karma, but your reactions to it definitely get better. The closer we are to the divine, the less the karma matters. We just don't feel it as strongly. It just, here we go again. That's the one nice thing about getting older, is, yes, new surprises happen. But there's a repetition in the karma until we finally get a lesson. Like, oh, I remember when it happened this time, and then it came back this time, and then, oh, yes. And I still kind of have a little bit of that reaction left after the first 20 times it's come to me. But maybe, it's finally time to change my reaction. So there is a pattern. But the closer we get to the divine, the more we allow Divine Mother to babysit us all the time, and the more we really develop that loving relationship. I feel very badly when people can't feel love in their hearts, and you'd be surprised at how some are this way. And until you can feel love in your heart, you cannot have an experience of God. You can observe miracles happening or observe things, but if the heart isn't open and if you're not feeling, that's got to be your first priority. Start chanting. Start finding any way to open the heart. Get that heart open. Yogananda ji in his talk, he said, if you can open your heart, that's the whole thing. We have to open our hearts, and then we can receive the presence of the divine within us and have that love relationship with the divine, and not just mental, but cultivating that love relationship, that one-on-one, loving with all your heart relationship you have with God. And you can develop that. You can. And in India, especially in Chennai, there's so many people who are devotional and want God. It's such a pleasure that we get to be here to celebrate Master with you. It's such a pleasure to just be able to be in the vibration of India with Indian souls. Of course, who knows where you were in your last life? You might have been in England or Dubai. We think, Jai Tamil Nadu! And it's like, well, where were you last time? You might have been saying, Viva la France! The same level of nationalism, but this time, yay, Ukraine! Who knows? But Master said, the United States of the world. The United States of the world. It's almost as though he saw the EU happening, and now in the world there's kind of this negative energy around all of that. So it'll be just interesting to see. As he was saying, when the decline of Dharma happens, an avatar incarnates. And I thought, maybe somebody's going to be born right now. But Master has been born and reborn in our hearts over and over again. And he did come very recently. When an avatar comes, there is so much power behind them and in them that power lasts for a long, long time. And when it develops saints along the way, then they continue the power of that. And remember, someone needed to be born after Master left his body to help keep the work continue on. And so that's what we're all doing, is we're spreading that work. We're sharing with other devotees and disciples. We're being present in our families and in our jobs with this spiritual vibration that we have. So many people say, their family said, what's going on with you? Why have you changed? And that's a beautiful thing. Because think about how families get so stuck in a rut and nobody changes and everyone's stuck in their role, And if just one person in the family begins to meditate, it has a way of kind of breaking up the solidification that has happened in the family. And it gives other people permission to change and grow and be more creative or bring peace in their life and not just be stuck in a little role like, well, you're that way and you're always this person and this person never changes. And then we feel kind of stuck because everyone sees us this one way. But then we see the little souls that come to the center. The master, well, at Ananda they used to say the wildflowers come to Ananda, as opposed to the flowers that are perfectly planted in little gardens. These are the wildflowers that kind of try and grow wherever they are because a seed happened to go in the wind and plant itself. And suddenly there's wildflowers in the middle of families, and you think, how did I get here? How did I get this family? How did it happen? And so then they seek having to find a place where they can be themselves and find themselves. And so we get the wildflowers who want to find themselves. And I know I felt that way about my family many times. Like, even now, the longer I've been on the path, I've just thought, we have absolutely nothing in common. Nothing. I still wish people well, but the thought of finding God, I think the percentages are better here in India. But in America, people like, I have my job, I pay my bills, I do the fun things on the weekend I want to do, and God? What? Huh? So that's what my family is like. So except one sister who's working on it. So still you go, why? I don't even feel my presence in that family helps them at all. So I think that's why Master just sent us here saying, you're not really needed over there. Why don't you come here? And we became renunciates anyway. And so family dynamics are a little different for us. But in our hearts, we can be renunciates. And in our hearts, we can know the truth. And we can be wildflowers and be happy about being wildflowers. And even though all the wildflowers that come here might be different kinds, here's the poppies and here's the, the different kind of wildflowers, somehow we make a beautiful bouquet together. That it doesn't matter if the flowers match or not, we're all finding our own individual path to God. That's what a wildflower does. It finds its own path. And it's different from everyone else. And even though we all know Kriya Yoga, or almost, even our path through Kriya Yoga is completely unique. We are unique, and Master knows it. We've been unique since we were a lump of coal, or even before. I guess a coal might come before a protozoa. But whatever our soul has been, we were unique from that very start. And when we enter back into the ocean of bliss, we'll still be our own little unique wave that happened to be in there. And God only knows if we start over in another age of Brahma, but we don't have to worry about that. So God bless you. Thank you for being the divine wildflowers that you are. And offer up your gratitude to the Masters for bringing you here, for giving you Master and the love of God and the ability to spread that peace to all.